guys, welcome back to the channel. We just want to do a quick walk around this BMW X1. It's actually my sister's car. I've been using it for work. I just thought I'd do a quick review of the car. So, you know, if you're looking to actually buy one of these, some of the things that you need to look out for. This one, actually majority of these cars in the UK, they're going to have the 2-litre diesel engine. So the code is N57. Now, this particular engine is known to have a few issues, but the main issue is going to be the timing chain. It can either stretch or it can snap. There's no real way, unfortunately, to actually prevent that from happening. The only thing you can do is have regular oil changes. This particular car is a facelift. It's 64 plate, so it's 2014. So BMW did make some changes to this car in terms of that engine, and the code changes to N57C. So that's a lot more reliable. Now, other than that, these cars, they're pretty good. There's no kind of known issues other than that. They're quite straightforward. It's got manual seats on this particular model. The electrics are pretty reliable. Because it weighs 1700 kilos, it's pretty heavy, and what that means is suspension tends to get a lot of wear and tear. So you want to make sure you check all the usual things you would in any car. So you want to check the oil, you want to check the tyre tread wear as well, making sure that it's even across the board. In terms of if you do have uneven tyre wear, it's going to be more than likely that the tracking is out, or track rod ends or other suspension components have been worn. So that's something, you know, you want to do the usual checks you would do on any other car. This particular model, 143 horsepower, even though it's a 1.8D, the engine is a 2-litre, the same as a 2-litre D and the 23D, which is twin turbo. This model is rear-wheel drive, so although it looks like a 4-wheel drive car, actually isn't. It's S-drive. You do get the optional 4-wheel drive, but that's only on the 23D and the 25D as well, which is part of the facelift. In terms of the car and the features, it's got Bluetooth as standard, it's got automatic lights as well. This particular one has the 8-speed gearbox, which is really good. Really good on the motorway. Averages around 1700 RPM when you're doing 70 miles an hour, so it's nice and quiet inside. In terms of the interior space, it's not too bad. I wouldn't recommend having, you know, 3 adults in the back. You can get away for a short period, but really it's just more of a 2+2. If you've got 2 kids, this is ideal. You'll be able to get your buggy and stuff in the back as well. It's got power outlet at the back, power outlet at the front, comes with auxiliary as well as standard. So all the things that you would expect. You know, it's got sat nav in there. I wouldn't really bother using it because any Android, any iPhone type of sat nav is going to be much quickly updated, and it's going to be much better to actually use than the BMW one. This particular model, if you look at these seats, these are leather. Like I said earlier, they're manually adjusted. It's not an M Sport. It's known as X-Line. So M Sport seats are a bit nicer. They're a bit firmer, hold you in more. Steering wheel actually shared the same. Just some of the trim is a bit different on the X-Line model compared to M Sport. So M Sport, normally this bit says BMW here. You'd expect to see M Sport here. Right guys, so a bit disappointed with these. There's only one cup holder here in the main area, and the second one here, but then once you put something in there, it's pretty useless. So right guys, we're going to go for a quick drive. Just while we're talking about maintenance, one of the things I'd recommend is, if you have a look at this button here, the default setting is, you know, it has the stop start, yeah. I would always switch it off, and the reason for that is the car's always stop starting. It's gonna put a lot of strain on the starter motor, even though it's designed for it. It definitely won't do your turbo any good. Any turbocharged car, petrol, diesel, you always want to run it for about a minute before you switch it off, to let the oil kind of cool down. It will make the turbo last a lot longer, and obviously having stop start on there, it's really not going to do any good. It's all well and good when the car's new, 3 years warranty, so on and so forth, but as they get older, you are going to have those kind of problems. You sometimes get EGR problems with this car as well, but you can avoid it by doing long journeys, motorway runs regularly, and using, you know, really good quality diesel. Don't put rubbish fuel in, otherwise that again will contribute to that EGR getting blocked as well. So let's go for a quick drive. One of the features this has got is, if you have a look at this is the Eco Pro button. What that does, automatically switches stop start on and off, so I'm going to disconnect that. If you have a look here, so the Eco Pro, it really makes the throttle, less sensitive. So in terms of, you're going to use less fuel. That's the theory behind it. If you accelerate harshly, it's going to use more diesel. It makes the throttle pedal, you have to really press it to actually move, which in turn it slows the gearbox down as well. It also does the climate control. It ends up using less battery power as well, so it's a little bit more efficient. So all these things, to be honest with you, I've done a full tank on Eco Pro mode. It only benefited me to 1.5 miles because it has a little gauge, which you guys can see here. It's showing 0.2. What that's saying is you've gained 0.2 range by using the Eco Pro mode. I did it for the whole tank, 1.5 miles. Not even worth it, to be honest. Another feature it's got is when you knock it to the left here, first thing it does is drops gear. That's the sport mode and manual mode. So if you press it, if you push it up, that drops the gear down. If you pull it back, that changes up. When you want to put it back into D, you just knock it across. In sport mode, what I've found is, it kicks down really quick. It does feel a lot livelier, but it's only for, it's not really that powerful anyway as a car. So what I've found is it tends to hold on to the revs for too long. In the diesel, after what, 3,500 revs, you don't really want to be ringing out more than that. It's time to change gear. So this really holds it to the red line when it's in sport. So I wouldn't, I don't particularly enjoy driving it in sport. It doesn't make a difference. You're better off just relaxing, driving it in normal D mode. In terms of fuel economy on a full tank, real world driving, I've had about 500 to 550 miles. That's a combination of motorway miles and commuting in town as well. What we're also going to do as part of this video, I'm going to do a quick MPG test. It's not going to be the kind of test that's representative of real life, but it's going to be consistent. And so something that I'm going to do on other reviews as well, so you guys can start comparing what cars perform like. So we're going to go on the motorway in a bit. I'm going to hook the cameras up and you guys will see what we average doing a consistent speed, and that test will repeat again and again, and then we'll start to see what kind of changes. And in my last video I talked about the carbon clean as well. If I have some time today, I'm going to go back, do a carbon clean on this car as well, and then see if we run the MPG test again, is it going to make a difference? I think that's going to be quite interesting to find out. Guys, so in terms of the way it drives, is actually pretty nice. It's really comfortable, it absorbs the bumps well. Bear in mind, this particular one hasn't got run flats on it. I'm sure with run flats it's going to be a different story. The steering's nice and precise as well. All in all, it's pretty comfortable to drive. It takes corners well. It's not going to, take corners like a proper M car or anything like that would. But for your average driver, this is going to be more than enough. Stops well. Gearbox, I'm particularly impressed with because it's got 8 gears and it knows when to shift as long as you leave it in drive. Don't put it in sport. Put it in sport, it's just going to be revving high for no reason really. Right guys, what we're going to do is go and do that motorway MPG test. So the plan is to do 60 miles an hour, do it for 10 miles. I'm only going to go by what the average trip computer tells us. So it's not really going to be an actual test because some manufacturers, they're a bit optimistic, some a bit pessimistic. So it'll be a good comparison. So 10 miles, 60 miles an hour, set on cruise control, same stretch of road, no special settings, no Eco Pro mode, anything like that, just stock drive, that's it. So let's see what it comes up with. Right guys, so that was that test done. All went well, there was no roadworks, no traffic, so it's a fair test. It's averaged 68.9 miles per gallon according to the trip computer. So this will just give us a good average against other cars once we start doing more of these tests. Again, I would say, you can take off about 20% from that figure to get a real world average. But on a motorway, you know, it's probably quite realistic to hit 60 mpg quite regularly in this car, which is what I've done. So I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
This car's Euro 6, which means as it stands, you can drive into London. There are plans in other cities as well, like Manchester, Birmingham, where you're going to need a Euro 6 diesel, otherwise you're going to have to start paying extra money to drive. So yeah, in terms of being an X1, it's not bad in here. It's been, as a commuter car, it's been really good. There are some annoying things, like the plastics are a bit hard. I don't know if you guys can actually hear that. It feels a little cheap in here, but it is the base model anyway. I'm sure something like an X5 is going to have a much better interior in it. But all in all, it's been really good to commute long range, nice and quiet, nice high driving position as well. So it's the ideal kind of family car, really practical. Right everyone, thanks for watching. I hope it's been an interesting video for you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share these videos.